Okay, let's begin. Welcome to GS215, which is pre-anatomy and physiology. And I am going to be your teacher. My name is Vincent Wong. And the best way to reach me is to email me. So I'm going to type my email here. And so that's my name. You can call me Vincent. You can call me Mr. Wong or Sir. All is fine. And this is my email. Okay. I will also copy the email in the chat box so you can save a copy for yourself. So if you have any concern, any questions about the course, if you need extra help, feel free to email me. I usually reply your email quite quickly. Sometimes I would reply you even within minutes you send it. If you send it during regular work hours, so to speak. Okay, I always have my phone with me, so if you email me, I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. If you email me and you don't hear back from me for more than 24 hours, that means I did not get your email. Okay, sometimes people might send it to the wrong person, or there might be a glitch or something. If I don't reply you for more than 1 day, please send an email again. And I'll be sure to get back to you. Okay, so today's orientation shouldn't take very long. It should just be maybe half an hour or so. I just want to tell you where to find things on the homepage. Tell you a little bit about the course expectation, as well as the format of how the course is being delivered. If you have any question during the orientation, please feel free to unmute yourself, or you can just type the question in the chat box directly, and I will address the questions right away. Okay, so sometimes it looks like I'm looking to the left. That's because I have another screen over there with the chat box. So don't think I'm distracted. I'm just trying to manage multiple things at the same time. Okay, so I see some familiar names in the class list. So some of you might have had me for the first semester. So welcome back. And for those of you who are in my class for the first time, once again, I would like to welcome you. So this course is not directly related to biology 1, the course you took in the first semester. It's more focused on the human bodies. And so each week we spend a little bit of time talking about a particular body system. Right? So we'll start with the cardiovascular system, and then we will move on to things like blood, immune system, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we try to tackle one body system at a time, and the course is separated into 3 units. Okay, so we say we have unit 1, unit 2, and unit 3. Okay, so each unit is going to have 4 lectures. Okay, so lecture 1 to lecture 4 for unit 1, 5 to 8 for unit 2, and 9 to 12 for unit 3. And then you're gonna have a quiz for each of the unit. So unit 1, and the quiz is 10% each. Unit 1, the quiz will be on lecture 1. Unit 2, the quiz will be on lecture 5, and lecture 9 for unit 3. Okay, so basically it's the first lecture of that particular unit that's going to be on the quiz. And then you will have a test. The test is going to be 20%, okay, which would be on the rest of the lectures for that particular unit. Okay, so in a sense is a little bit better for you because it's you already got assessed it on lecture 1. You don't have to worry about it on the test. Okay, and of course each of the unit are kind of independent from each other. It's not going to be one huge cumulative exam. Okay, and then there's going to be a lab as well. Okay, and the labs are done virtually. You do not have to come to campus. So the lab will be for the whole unit. So it's going to be 2.5% for the first unit, another 2.5% for the second unit, and then 5% for the last unit because the content is a little bit heavier for the last unit. So that's why it's going to be worth more marks. I'll get to the labs later on. But for now, that is going to be the layout of the course. Mary asks, will you be giving us a study guide? Yeah, I'm going to get to that in a second. Great question. So before we move on, any questions about the breakdown of the assessments? This tends to be what people are most concerned about, in a course. All right. So I just wanted to do a quick poll. Have you had a chance to visit the course homepage on eCentennial yet? Okay. If you did, please choose A. If you have not had a chance yet, please choose B. Just want to see if people had a chance to click around on the course homepage, which looks something like this. Okay, that's good. It seems like a majority of you have had a chance to do it. And for the few of you who haven't had a chance yet, please do so after class today, and click around, find out where the resources are. Okay, so once you go to the course homepage, you will see there is the news item, and every week at the beginning of the week, I will post something more like a to-do list. Okay, that tells you what you need to do that week. But it's the same thing every week. Basically, you got to watch the lecture recordings. You got to get a copy of the study guide. I'll show you where that is in a second. And then you're gonna come to the tutorial. Those are basically your to-do list for every week. But I'll post it. I'll include some hyperlinks so that you can click on it and get to the content easily. And then at the end of the week after the second class, I will post a debrief. Okay, so sometimes maybe there's a reminder about quiz, or some link to additional resources or whatnot. Okay, so check the news items frequently. Okay, if it's very important stuff, I'll send an email out as well. Okay, so here there are some quick links button that you can click on. And if you visit this for the first time, what I want you to click on is the weekly schedule. Okay, that is a very important piece of document. So you click on the weekly schedule, and it will take you directly to this calendar. Okay, so the course outline, which is like a detailed document that talks about what we learned in the course, that you can read on your own. But for simplicity, you want to get this this schedule. Okay, because it tells you when classes are and when things are going to be happening. Okay. Oops, I just realized that the name of the calendar is wrong. I'll change that, but it's the correct calendar. Okay, it's just that this should be GS215 pre-anatomy and physiology. I'll change that later, but the calendar is still correct. So I'm just going to pull up like a bigger version. It's easier to see. So you can see we on your course timetable, you will see that we have class on Tuesday and Thursday. Okay, but Tuesday is going to be designated for asynchronous learning. Okay, whereas Thursday is going to be the synchronous learning. This week is different because we have the orientation. Okay, so during asynchronous learning, you are going to be watching the lecture recordings. So basically, they are PowerPoint slides with me doing voiceover, and you're going to watch those things on your own. Okay, you don't necessarily have to watch it on Tuesday. You could really watch it anytime you want because it's all posted online already. Okay, but the key thing is to watch them before you come to the tutorial. Okay, now again, some of you who have had me last semester, we did the exact same format, right? Okay, and we do a lot in the tutorial. And compared to the last semester, this course is actually a lot harder because there are a lot more contents to cover. Okay, so please do watch the videos before you come to the tutorial. Otherwise, you will be lost at the tutorial. Okay, so what do we do exactly at the tutorial? Well, we will take up study guides and we will do practice questions for the test. Okay, so we'll do some poll questions that are going to help prepare you for doing the quizzes, the tests. And of course, if you have any question, right, you can bring those up in the tutorial as well. Okay, so you can see we meet in person live every Thursday, right, 8:30 to 11:20. We usually don't go all the way to 11:20. Okay, it depends on the topic. Some topics are really short and we will be done in 2 hours or so. Others are quite long. We might go, to 11 or something. Okay, but on the Tuesday is usually reserved for asynchronous learning. Any question about the difference between asynchronous and synchronous? You do not have to show up on Tuesdays. Okay. Now, it also tells you, the calendar also tells you when the evaluations are going to be happening. So for quiz 1, it will be on the 25th. Now, the quizzes and the tests, they will be available from 6 a.m. of that day to 11:59 p.m. of that day. Okay, so that means during this window, you can access the quiz. But once you start the quiz, you will have to finish it. Okay, so a quiz will have like a time limit of maybe 40 minutes. So once you begin the quiz, you have to sit there for 40 minutes to complete it. If you finish early, you can close it. Okay, of course, but you cannot start a quiz and then close the browser and come back later to do it. The timer does not stop when you close the browser. Okay, so this is second semester. You probably are familiar with the online assessment. There are no lockdown browser or any extra software you have to download. It's just the regular quiz that you do on eCentennial. Okay. Sometimes, like right before a test, we will have the tutorial on the Tuesday instead, because I'll be doing a test review with you. But other than that, it's going to be on the Thursday. So I will remind you, right? When we get closer to those dates, I'll send out an email just to remind you. Of course, there's the engagement week, which is like a week off, essentially. And you can see there are some labs as well, which I will get into momentarily. So any question about the weekly schedule before I move on to the lecture recordings? Okay. So I'm just going to go back to the course homepage here. Now you can use these quick links button, but I want to show you where to find the things, on your own. Okay. So like I said, I will post a to-do list and there are these hyperlinks that you can click on and it will take you directly to the page. But suppose you want to, find things on your own, you should click on content. You can see there are 3 folders here, right? Unit 1, 2, 3. So we're going to go ahead and click on the Unit 1 folder. Okay, so there are some learning objectives. And then here, there are going to be 3 folders within each of the lectures. There's a lecture recording folder, study resources, as well as supplementary readings. So the lecture recordings is the one that you're interested in. So on the asynchronous day, okay, or you can do it on the weekend, okay, as long as you do it before the tutorial is okay. There is going to be the PowerPoint slides. So you click on that. And you really need to have a copy of this in front of you when you are watching the recordings. Okay, what I found out is a lot of people like to watch the recordings, just on the phone or like, on the laptop, I guess, whatever. But like a lot of people do it on the phone when they are elsewhere. Like sometimes people do it. Student tells me that they watch the recordings while they are at work. Okay, that's not how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to watch the recording, preferably in a quiet place with the PowerPoint slides in front of you. Okay, as if you were watching like an actual lecture, right? So you would download this, okay, and then with this in front of you, you will go to watch these recordings. Okay, so for the first lecture, there are 5 recordings. Okay? Each recordings is about half an hour, 40 minutes long. So you might not be able to finish all of it in one sitting, but do try to come back to it at a later time. Okay. Another thing that I noticed is a lot of people watch the first part and then second part, and then they don't finish it. Okay. Each part is as important as each other, right? It's not like you can just get the first half of the material and leave the rest unwatched. Okay, you should watch all of them. And also, when you watch the lecture recordings, you should have a copy of the study guide as well. So if you go to the study resources, there is the study guide. Okay, so this one, if you have a printer, please print it out. And I will be filling in some of these in the lecture recordings. Okay, and then whatever we do not fill in the lecture recordings, I will be filling it out with you during the tutorial. Okay, so when you come to the tutorial, you need to have either a physical copy of this, or you can have like an electronic copy of this with you. Does that make sense? Okay. So for example, you can see there is a diagram here, right? Okay, and then that's the diagram that I will be labeling with you in the lecture recordings. Let me see if I can find which one it is just to show you. Maybe it's this one. Just gonna mute so I don't have to hear myself talk. So there we go, right? So you can see I'm actually using the study guide during the recording. Okay, so no point just to watch this and not do it yourself, right? Which is why it's important to have both the PowerPoint slides as well as the study guide as you're watching these. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Let's see what else there is there to talk about. There's the study resources, like I said. Right? If I click on the study resources again, there's the study guide. There are these crosswords puzzle that are quite useful as well. I'll show you what it looks like. It basically helps you remember a lot of the terms, right? So if I click on one of these, it says the hardening of arteries due to buildup of fatty substances. Okay, so anybody know what the answer to that might be? Maybe you learned it from before. Maybe you've already watched the lecture recordings. Anybody know what the answer to that question is? Hardening of arteries due to buildup of fatty substances. If you know, you can key in the answer, right? And if you do not know, you can click solve, and then it will tell you what the answer is. Okay, so it just helps with memorizing some of the terms. Right? Something like this you can do on your phone, I believe, okay, on the go. And the more you do it, the easier it is for you to memorize the terms. Okay, other study resources. There are these self-quizzes that you can do. Okay, the self-quiz, they are not worth any marks. You can do them as many times as you like. Now I have to give a bit of a caution here. The self-quizzes are not an accurate representation of the actual quiz and test. Okay, the actual quiz and test are harder compared to the self-quiz. Okay, the self-quiz is just kind of like a quick starting point to see if you know the very basic. Okay, so some people tell me I did all the self quizzes, but the actual tests and the actual quiz are like so different. They are supposed to be different. Okay, they are supposed to be a little bit harder. Okay, so just a little warning for that. But nevertheless, they are a good place to start. There are some video resources. Okay, so if I click on that, you will see it's a collection of videos that I found online that are related to what we are talking about. So sometimes you might not like the way I explain certain things, and you just want to get like a different perspective to hear it from someone else. So that's what these videos are for. Okay, you are not responsible for things that are covered in these videos. If there is some concept that they mentioned in the videos that we didn't talk about in class, you do not need to know them for the test. Okay, so for the test and for the quiz, you are only responsible for the lecture recordings, which is why you have to watch them, the study guide material, and whatever we talked about in the tutorials, okay? Sometimes there are some extra concepts that I have to cover in the tutorial that are not in the recordings. So you will have to watch that. You will have to come to the tutorial to learn those as well. Now, all the tutorials are going to be recorded, including this orientation. It's going to be recorded, and you will have access to the recordings after class as well. So if you miss a tutorial or something, you can watch those. Okay. The only advantage for not attending the tutorial live is, number one, you don't get the live interaction. You know, sometimes you might want to ask questions on the spot, right? You won't be able to do that if you watch the recordings, right? And number two, when I do the recordings, the practice question, the polls that we're doing, it will not show up. Okay, so you're missing that live interaction experience. Okay, let's go back to the folder, lecture 1. There is the supplementary reading as well. If you click on it, I'll click on it, I guess. It will take you to the online textbook. Okay. I think the PowerPoint slides and the study guides are more than enough material to cover all the concepts. Okay, I think the explanation in the recordings are quite clear, and whatever is not clear, I will clear it up in the tutorial as well. Okay, so the textbook is really just for you to use as a reference. Okay, some people like to have, you know, more comprehensive coverage of the topics, then you can read the textbooks. Okay, but again, it's just more for reference. I'm not going to test you anything on it. There are some good review questions though, if you want, right? You can try to go through some of them on your own. But again, be mindful. There are things that we have not covered, and you might not know the answer. So don't freak out if a lot of the questions seems a little bit you know, confusing to you. It might just be the fact that we did not talk about it. Okay, so that's it for the you know, what you have to do each week for the asynchronous portion. Any question? Okay, so what else do we have to talk about? The labs. Okay, so there is a folder for labs, and there are 3 online labs. Okay, I'm gonna open one of them. Now, in the original course, like if we were doing this face to face, what happens is we have all these like models in the classroom, and you know, we would go around and we would be examining these models, and you'll be doing activities with them. But obviously we cannot do. Okay, so I got a message from Patrick. So we watch the recordings anytime we want. Yeah, you can watch it, you know, today, you can watch it on the weekend, but the key is to watch them before you come to the class on Wednesday. Okay, they are available on YouTube basically. Okay. So yeah, so if we were doing this in class, we would be doing activity with these models. So obviously we can't do that in a virtual setting. So I went and took pictures of all the models, and then I just asked questions. So label A, B, C, and D and state a function, right? So you would look at this part, and then you would tell me what it is. Okay? Does anybody know what A is? Anybody had a chance to take a look at notes, for example? Okay, so if you don't know that, that's okay, right? You're not supposed to know, right? You're supposed to learn it from the recordings, right? And so once you found out the answer, then you can fill in these PowerPoint slides. Okay, you can fill it in on your computer. You can print it out and write it down. Okay, so that's what the lab is. The lab is basically for you to answer all these questions. Okay, you won't be able to do all of it until you finish the entire Unit 1. Yes, it's the order. Okay, someone answered. Very good. Okay, now you do not, okay, listen carefully. You do not have to hand this in. Okay, this is for your own use only. Okay, so you answer all these questions and then you keep it in a safe spot. Okay, so how are you going to be evaluated for the labs? Okay, so I'm going to go back to a weekly schedule, and you can see that there is going to be a lab quiz right before each test. Okay, so lab quiz number 1, which is on the entire unit 1, including all 4 lectures, is going to be 215%, and then you can do it anytime between the 4th and the 9th. Okay, and the labs, you will have 2 attempts. Okay, and only the best attempt would count. Okay, so if you do it the first time, you get like, I don't know, 60%, you're not happy with it. Then you go study some more, and then you do it again, then you get like 80% the second time. Then 80% is your final grade. Okay, only the best one will be recorded. Okay, if you got a good grade the first time, you do not have to do the second attempt. Okay, unless you want to. So what is the lab quiz about? Let me show you a sample of that. Lab quiz. Oh, someone already did a self quiz. Very good. Lab quiz. Let me see if I preview the lab quiz for you. Start on the quiz. So see the lab quiz, right? It's basically pointing at the structure, right? So if you did your, oops, I closed my lab already. But if you did your lab, the lab that I show you, right? Remember this? And someone's telling me it's aorta, then you would be able to choose the correct answer, right? Okay, so that's why you have to do the labs. That's why you have to do the PowerPoints. Because if you don't do them and you see a question like this, you might not be able to answer, on the spot. All right. So it's basically like free marks. Many people do very well on the labs. It's just kind of like buffers to help you boost your grades a little bit. Because like I said, it's a difficult course. Okay, so it's nice to have that extra 10%. You can get as much as 10% buffers by doing well on all the labs. Are we clear on what the lab is about? Okay, Mary asks, can you start and stop the? No, you cannot. Okay, the labs are like the quizzes. Okay, so you have to. Once you start it, you would have an hour to do it, which is plenty of time. Okay, the lab quizzes, like I said, are structured to help you boost the grades. Okay, so that's why the time limit is very generous, and you have 2 attempts. Okay, now and I do understand like things happens. Okay, like ever since we switched to online learning, I get emails from people saying, their internet went down or whatever, right? Like there is an emergency or something. It's okay. Okay, don't freak out. You can let me know. Okay, and then I will set it up for you again. It's not the end of the world. Okay, I'm a pretty laid back person. Okay, so just be honest. Tell me what's going on, and then I will help you out as much as I can. Now, having said that, if every time there is a test, you tell me your internet is out, then I get a little bit suspicious, right? Okay, then we might have to, I might not grant you the redo. Okay, so make sure you only do that if there is an actual emergency. Okay, if you have if you need accommodation for the quizzes or assessment, and you have a documentation from CALS, please do send them to me earlier rather than later, so I can set up the accommodation for you accordingly. Any other question? Okay, let me see if there's anything else I need to tell you about. Let's go back to content. We did the labs, useful resources. Yeah, so that there is the link to the tutorial recording. Okay, so let me just go back to the homepage here. The quickest way to get to it is just to use this quick link, this yellow button, virtual tutorial. If I click on it, it will take me to this this page. Okay, so right now there is nothing, but every week after the tutorial, I will post a link. Okay, so you will have all the links here as we go on. So what I'll do, I will actually maybe copy this and then put it in the chat box. Okay, so you can just bookmark it right on your browser, and then you can just go and click on it anytime you need the recordings. I think that is it. I don't think there is anything else I want to cover. Does anybody have any questions, concerns before we we end the orientation. Oh yeah, one more thing, the study guide, right? Like I know some of you don't have a printer at home, and we do a lot of labelings and colorings and stuff like that. So if you would prefer to buy a physical copy of the study guide, you can buy it at the bookstore, because there is a link here, right? You click on it, and it will take you to the bookstore. It's like $38.50. And I think there's only a few copies left, because I told them to stop printing more. Not a lot of people want them, but if you do, right, you could go get a copy of that. Someone asked, do I provide tutoring? I don't tutor like one-on-one, in the sense that I will not teach you the entire lesson one-on-one. Okay, but if you have a question that we cannot resolve over email, then sometimes we can set up like a short Zoom meeting, and then we can go through a particular concept. Okay, so if you need extra help, feel free to email me. I will try to address it through email, and if that doesn't work, then we can arrange some one-on-one time. Okay, but I will not be able to reteach you the entire lecture. Okay, or redo the tutorial. Okay, but if you're stuck on a particular concept, we can go through it. Okay. All right. So what you need to do between now and then, and Wednesday, that's the next time we're gonna meet. And Thursday, I'm sorry, Thursday. Did I say Wednesday? I have keep on saying Wednesday. I mean Thursday. Okay. So next time we're gonna meet is on Thursday, 8:30. So between now and then, you need to watch those 5 recordings. Okay. And then if you have questions, of course, email me. If you have specific questions about the content, maybe wait until Thursday, right? And ask that during the tutorial. Chances are, if you have a question about something, other people are going to have the same question. Okay. So other than that, I will see you Thursday, 8:30. It's the same Zoom link, so we will be using that for the entire semester. Mary asks, can I get the course pack material for all the units in the bookstore? Yeah, the course pack is all the study guides for the entire entire course. Okay, not the PowerPoint slides though, just the study guide. Okay. Now a little disclaimer: the course pack that they're selling at the bookstore, it's a little bit of an older version. So there are a few questions that are missing. Okay, compared to what I post online. Okay. But all the diagrams, which are the ones that you need to color and stuff like that, those are all intact. Okay, it's just that sometimes there might be a few questions that are missing. So whatever is missing in those copies, you can get from the online version. I purchased and only got the workbook. Yeah, it's the workbook, right? The workbook is the study guide, right? Or am I misunderstanding your question? Your workbook will look like this, right? This is your workbook, right? If you look at the first page, right? The first unit. Yes, so that, yeah, you got the correct thing. Okay, it's just that, sometimes you might, if you flip through it, you will see that, for example, there is an extra chart here, right? That's on the online study guide, but that's missing in the book. But again, the difference is like less than 10%, so it's not like detrimental that it's missing. Okay, so that's what we'll be doing, guys, on Thursday, right? I'll fill this in with you. You should try on your own first before you come to class. But watching the recording is the #1 priority. All right. Okay, so thanks again, everyone, for coming. I will see you all on Thursday. I'll hang around for a couple more minutes in case people have other questions. Otherwise, have a fantastic day. See you later.